Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, a man who knows that if you find a man dressed as Santa Claus in your basement, you need to do a little bit more investigative digging before you decide he's real. The Macho Man Drew.
Andrew Lano. Or it's the start of a very interesting video on the internet for private times.
Yes, exactly. Yes, something about chimneys and stockings and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Celebrating its 35th anniversary this year is The Christmas Star, which was a made-for-TV Disney, I think ABC.
Oh, it was made for TV?
Yes, yeah, surprisingly high production value for a made-for-TV movie, I thought.
Yeah. Like, was it like a World of Disney?
So I think it was a Sunday night movie, which makes me think ABC and not Disney Channel.
I don't think, no, because not Disney Channel. There was the World of Disney was a thing that they did. That's how they made a lot of movies for a long time. It was called like the Wonderful World of Disney.
Right, it aired on ABC is what I'm saying.
Oh, I didn't know that was on ABC. I didn't know what channel that was on.
Yes, yeah, we basically were going, I was like, yeah, it's a Hershey bar. And you were like, right, but it wasn't a chocolate bar. And I'm like, yes, because it was a Hershey bar. And then you were like, right. But
I didn't know. I didn't, for some reason, I thought, I would have thought that would have been a Disney Channel thing.
The ABC Disney partnership lasted longer and was like well before they owned ABC. They had like a.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there might have been another network in there. This is like an area of Disney minutia that my brain doesn't retain, but there was like a prime time TV deal where like that's where they aired like the Disneyland opening special in the 50s and like a lot of stuff like that. But then later stuff like this, family content. We got Ed Asner, who just passed away recently, so we're doing this for Ed Asner's death celebration's kind of weird, but we were thinking about Ed Asner. Yeah, because he died right before that Muppet thing, because that was his last thing.
What Muppet thing?
He's in Muppet Haunted Mansion for like 10 seconds. He has
is he one of the busts?
He's one of the ghosts in the graveyard.
Okay, yeah, that sequence where they were like, we're gonna put 15 people here, and if you blink, you missed him. Sorry.
Yeah. Ed Asner like pops up, makes a funny face, and then like disappears. He has no dialogue. He doesn't really do anything, but he just was like in there. Anyway, we watched Ed Asner's The Christmas Star, so you know what that means. On today's episode, the role of Andrew doing an impression of Doc Brown from Back to the Future will be played by Trip Lano, because he has sort of a throat thing going on and doesn't feel up to it. We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your Christmas ripoff. Something's gotta be done about your Christmas ripoff.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
It's harder on the throat than people might think.
It is. And you do it better than I do. Also, my original was boring-ass Christmas ripoff. I want to put that on the record.
I'm sorry. I do apologize. I was not editorializing. It was genuine forgetfulness. Your boring-ass Christmas ripoff.
There we go.
Which you're gonna have to explain to me, but I'm willing to wait for it.
We'll go on the journey together, because it was 7 notes in that I wrote. This is a ripoff of blank, and then it just kept confirming it until I was like, I'm in it. I'm watching this now, and I'm mad.
Interesting, because I had a different interpretation, but that's fine. That's always a good thing, or not always a good thing, but always an interesting thing to talk about anyway. So Ed Asner is 8 months, I want to say, from getting out of prison.
I think so. He also looks like Bob Hoskins in Hook in this movie.
He does look like Bob Hoskins in Hook. Yeah. So he's close to the end of his sentence. He's listening to an older man in the prison tell a story about the Christmas Star, and he's explaining
not a thing.
This, not a thing that I'm aware of. However, I have heard the phrase before, and I'm pretty sure it's like a loose Christianity thing. Like I think maybe the Christmas star helped the
A lot
three
of
wise
things.
men.
A lot of things can be stuck with that label at this time of year.
Well, as you are well aware, most things that are air quotes Christian tradition are just repurposed pagan rituals that they were like, we came in, we learned what the locals did.
We got leftover pagan stock that we're going to rebrand.
Exactly. They came in, they're like, all y'all are pagans, what do you celebrate? And they're like, oh, interesting, that's exactly what we celebrate, but the story's different. And it's like, well, is that true? No, you made that up just then. So I think there's like
bastards.
I've always thought I've heard the phrase Christmas star, I should say. I feel like the Christmas star comes up in One Magic Christmas.
Oh, does it? Is that what the
I just
the angels
rewatched
are?
it. It might be, but so I was like, oh, is this like a three wise men thing? Someone out there is like furiously tweeting, which is fine. But yeah, I'm just saying I think there's like a loose religious affiliation with this idea.
Huh? Yeah, because
certainly in this movie, it's like vaguely religious.
It's a thing in this movie. They're like, it's the legend of the Christmas star, and they tell some like Greek style myth about about like evergreen trees and the Christmas star. And I was like, I've always like Christmas star to me is like what you put on top of the tree. Like that's my only connection to Christmas star.
Right. But that's also part of why I think maybe it's a Christianity thing, because like angel or Christmas star, like is that a thing? I don't know.
Oh, maybe. One year, I just briefly put up a framed photo of Betty Davis as the star on my tree. So,
I have a plush dog from a video game that my fiance and I like to play. So,
he's your star on the tree.
We have a plush Kevin from Overcooked wearing a Santa hat. It was like a limited. There's a company that makes like plushes of the Overcooked characters, and Kevin with a Santa hat was like a limited Christmas thing. And I was like, I want to buy this for the top of the tree. And she was like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Yeah. So he's up there. Looking down over our video game performance and judging silently. So anyway, he's getting out soon. He's like, your Christmas star stuff's a bunch of bullshit. And he doesn't say bullshit. It's a family movie. It aired on Disney something or other. But he marches away, and the guy's like, you'll be sorry. One day you'll need the Christmas star, and you won't know what to do without it.
It's just weird because also like if he's this close to parole and he doesn't seem to be like he's not like
Andy Dufresne.
Angelina Jolie father in
Billy
that
Bob
movie
Thornton?
about the train.
Oh, her father, not her once husband. I said Billy Bob Thornton. John Voight.
No. Her
Runaway
father.
Train, I believe, is the
Runaway Train. Like he's not like a John Voight and Runaway Train type where he like clearly he's like the prison warden's like you and like shakes his fist. He just seems like he's almost done with his time. Like he doesn't seem just like wait it out, dude. It's a few more months. It's not like you just got there.
Well, that's what happens. So he's like, 8 more months and I get out of this place. And then he sees on the TV that the Christmas decorations where he stashed his money are getting sold. Like,
oh, that's okay. Got it. That's I like didn't
you missed a fundamental piece there. Yeah.
I like well he does it later and I was like, oh, he must hide something in the reindeer. I didn't get that was the impetus for him leaving. So this movie's very boring, by the way, y'all. So like.
It's not very good. It's a long 94-minute movie, which is somehow possible.
It feels like it should have been an hour. Like
this
it should have been an hour and then 90 minutes with commercials.
No. We could have done this in a 42 fit into an hour time slot. We did not need to. We could have done this in half the time. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, but they would never do that.
Well, they did like Mr. Boogedy and those kind of specials in the Wonderful World of Disney. Those are all an hour.
Were those 40, Wonderful World and not Disney Channel? Because apparently, a thing that I didn't realize, Disney Channel's claim to fame was that they didn't have advertising, but they had commercial breaks.
Right, only for other. Yes.
It was for other stuff on their network because their thing. I remember I saw something that was like, we never air commercials or like we never advertise, and I was like, well, that's not true. And then I was like, well, wait a minute, it was always for other things. It was like, you should keep watching this channel. That's what the commercial breaks for. Or go to Disney World.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the other one is like, the other one is like, come spend a lot of money at our theme parks. I'm not sure if the like Mr. Boogedy stuff was Disney or on the ABC stuff. I thought it was more that aired on like ABC, but they would do like maybe 2 of them in a 2-hour block. So you'd get 2 short things instead of one feature length thing.
DComs are all...
Anyway, Ed Asner...
I think DComs are all like 90, like just under 90.
Right. I'm not talking about Disney Channel original movies. I'm talking about
I know that, but I was
specials
just sort
like
of that's
Mr.
my
Bugaboo.
frame of
Yeah.
reference for Disney TV films.
Right. So they have like another category, which is like one-off 45-minute type, 1 hour TV length with commercials things. So I'm not sure. But anyway, Ed Asner's tinkering away in a workshop.
Yeah.
And on the TV, they're like, the famous long-serving Christmas decorations at blah, blah, blah department store are going
not
away for
Macy's.
good. Yes, at Schmacy's are going away for good.
Yeah, it was like these decorations. They keep calling it Santa's throne, which like ostensibly that's what Santa sits on. It's just weird to hear it called that
Yeah.
because like throne just has such a like I don't know a weird connotation to it that Santa sitting on a throne just seems weird. But they're like the throne and decorations are over 100 years old, but they're gonna get auctioned off so that we can have Christmas Robot Land next year. And I was like, that's the best you could think of?
Yeah, it's like the store's going out of business. Like there's
But
a
it's
million
not. They're
other
just
things.
changing. I think
No.
the idea-
I'm saying the better plot is the store
yes.
is going out of business. Yeah, Mr. Whatever has died, and therefore the store will be sold off.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a fake Radio Shack. Like
Like it could be like Duncan's Toy Store and
a Tech Barn Christmas next year.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's Duncan's Toy Barn or whatever it's called. Or it's not,
Duncan's
I guess
Toy
Barn
Chest.
is Chest, yeah. Toy Barn is Toy Story 2.
You're thinking of Al's Toy Barn and
Yes,
Duncan's
yes.
Toy Chest.
Yes, Toy Story 2. Anyway, by the way, I rewatched that. I went to New York a few weeks ago just for a little day trip on the train, little fancy lad. And we rewatched that the night before. And I totally see why you had in your head that Mr. Duncan was a ghost because like he firmly is not a ghost. The scene that you remember that made you think he was a ghost, and that's what you remember from the movie. He like talks to Macaulay Culkin, he gives him the turtle doves. Macaulay
And then there's a
takes,
portrait of him.
Yes, and Macaulay takes like 2 steps and he looks at this portrait and then he's like, "Huh?" And he turns around and Mr. Duncan is gone. So I totally see that. But earlier, Mr. Duncan is like a background person, like checking people out. So like it would be weird for him to be a ghost. And
He does
was also-
interact with the world.
Yeah, he's like he's there in the space. But yeah,
My brain always thinks he's dead.
yeah. So anyway, there's a ticking clock here. Ed Asner's like, "Oh crap! Like I hid money in that reindeer, and if I don't get to the reindeer, all hell's my money's gone forever. Like how am I ever going to figure out what happened to those reindeer?"
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing that they're like, "Okay,
Although
you have to."
they say
bust
they're
that
being
prison.
auctioned off, so like theoretically we could pull a Brady Bunch sequel, and he could just go to the auction.
Well, he can't go to the auction because he's in prison, so he has to bust out either way.
But I mean, like the fact that he's like running, like it could also have been he has to go to the auction.
yeah, but then he has to come up with money. So I feel like this is
No, the money is
play.
in the items you're buying, and if you
Right.
know you have $5 million stuffed away in a plastic horse, bid 100,000 and be like, "Thank you." Reach in your horse. Here's the money to pay for it.
I feel like if you reached into the horse in public, reindeer, by the way, and we're like, here's the $250,000 I spent on this, they'd be like, how did you know there was $5 million in there? And also, wasn't $5
Doesn't
million
matter. It's mine now, sucker.
wasn't $5 million stolen from this department store exactly 15 years ago?
Meep meep, and then he just runs away.
Well, realistically, more like 17 years ago, given how the wheels of justice turned in this country. But
Yeah.
something like that. But anyway, there's a few like really bizarre lines that really hooked me here, which I feel is your marker of it being a made-for-TV movie. And the one guy's like, "Put on Wheel of Fortune, my dude. It is like 11 a.m. Where do you live, and what time does Wheel air? Because Wheel is a nighttime show where I come from."
Is it not a? I thought Wheel was one of those random daytime ones, like when you were homesick.
No, Wheel is like right before Jeopardy or right after Jeopardy, depending on your market. But it's like a 6 to 7, 7 to 8 situation.
I don't have real TV anymore, so my whole frame of reference is just gone.
Ditto, but I do have an antenna, so sometimes I watch. I'll watch a little bit of over the air stuff occasionally. Sometimes I like to see what the it's
What the
especially
common folk
interesting-
watch.
Well, I like to put it on at like 1 a.m. because when you have an antenna, you get all these weird like substations from the major broadcasters. So it's like
you're like a local Fox affiliate kind of thing.
Right, but like say the local Fox affiliate, they might have 3 channels, right? And one is Fox, one is just weather, and then one is like weird shit. And so you'll get like a lot of Star Trek the original series airing at 1 a.m. sometimes, or like a Quantum Leap, for example, but just like weird old TV, which is occasionally I'll throw on for short bursts. But yeah, it's just like, sir, Wheel is a nighttime show. Now, look, it's a syndicated program. It airs at different times in different markets. But from my end, if you're out there and you're like, no, Wheel of Fortune's a 1 p.m. show where I live, and Jeopardy is too, let us know, because I would like to know. That's interesting to me. But from everywhere I've ever lived on the East Coast exclusively, it's a nighttime program.
Yeah. The other guy says People's Court, I think.
Yes, which that one is like, yeah, that's a daytime show. So he's like, oh no, I got to bust out and get to these reindeer. We click forward a day, and there's this group of volunteers dressed in, I thought it was old-timey Christmas clothes, and then I was like, maybe it's just old lady clothes, because it's all old ladies.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if they were supposed to be like Dickens-y carolers kind of thing, or...
Because they call the guy brother something, which makes me think like, oh, are they nuns?
I think they're not. I think they are nuns. Because Santa is just walking across the yard.
Yeah.
Willy-nilly, and I'm like, there's no way that like you got that confused. The yard can't, like, there's no way that's the entrance and then you walk across the yard to get to the prison. Like, that's a very poor design if that is how it's done.
Well, also, it's like when you visit a prison, they are extremely, extremely cautious about where you are, and they know where you are at all times. It's not like you go, oh, I need to use the bathroom. They're like, sure, it's 3 rights and then a left. Like, someone would escort you to it.
But that's not how movies work.
Right. But he's like walking down the hallway, basically whistling like...
It also looks like Eastern State Penitentiary now.
It does.
This hallway.
It does.
It's like
it really
cracked
does.
paint and like ceiling tiles missing.
My hunch is it probably wasn't Eastern State Penitentiary, but it was probably a similarly aged prison that was out of commission. Like this happens a lot. They shoot at them like right before they tear them down or when they're sitting idle.
So he's handing out presents from the bag, and I wish that we had a sponsor for this episode, because it would have been great. Because my question was, what do you think is in the gifts that he's handing them?
Okay,
I think it's Jesus Saves T-shirts, because they're kind of squishy looking, and they're about the size of a folded T-shirt.
So, not to be like Mr. Know-It-All, but I don't think you can give a T-shirt to a person in prison. I don't think
they can have clothes.
I don't know that you get prison issued clothing. So it's like probably a consumable item.
Couldn't you wear like an undershirt under your prison? Is that a thing?
I guess maybe, but as far as I'm aware, that's not like a thing. But maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not a complete expert on this topic. I was going to guess food items. I was thinking like a couple of ramen packets in there.
Huh. I was just going based on like when he picks them up, they have that sort of flimsy, squishy quality of a folded T-shirt with no box.
You know, I'm going to change my answer then. It's Twizzlers.
I mean, I'm not mad about that.
It's a package of Twizzlers.
It's like one of my top movie/beach candies.
Yeah, I'm a once a year Twizzlers person. It's like that's exactly as much Twizzler as I want in my life.
So the classic red Twizzlers, kind of. I mean, like I said, movies and beach.
Sure.
But there are these. They're like stuffed Twizzlers. They have like a core in them.
I know what you're talking about, and I have never had it because it's like the very idea of what you're describing.
No, they are. They're the best Twizzler. Like best one of my favorite candies.
Are they in the vein of like a gummy candy?
No, not at all. Because I hate gummies.
Okay.
So it's sort of like have you ever had like maybe even on the beach, or like if you left like Twizzlers in your car on a hot day and then you go take a bite and it's just like really soft, but it's still got the like it's not like goop in your mouth, but it's just like very soft. That's what it is. So the regular Twizzler outside is still got that chewiness to it and the pull, but the inside is just kind of like squishier. But it's they're called sour, but they're not sour at all. They're just like kind of tangy. It's like a lemon. It's red and yellow. It's lemon and cherry, I think.
Okay.
I will always buy them because what happened was the first year I saw them, I thought they were like a summer item, and I was like, oh, these are going to go away forever. I'm going to buy like 3 bags. And then they just stayed around. Normally that doesn't happen. So they are like my all-time favorite candy.
Wow.
Like top 5 favorite candies when I want something like fruity.
You should bring some next time I'm going to see you.
Yeah. I brought them to the beach before, and I tried to be like, hey, everyone, you should try these candies.
Well, you gave a much better spiel right here than you did then, because I remember looking at them and being like, that looks like it's. So I don't like gummy, but I do like a Sour Patch Kid, which is
That's
more
my
like
exact
a
thing.
fruit
Gummy
snack.
worms and gummy bears can get the fuck out, but a Sour Patch
Yeah.
Kid, hang out with me.
Like I like a fruit snack. I don't like a gummy is the thing.
Yep.
And the Sour Patch Kids I feel are a gummy. Or or more like a fruit snack.
Are more like they're more that fruit snack consistency for sure.
While we're making candy hot takes, I bought Red Vines for the first time during quarantine because I was like, well, I've never had them before, right? And I was like, maybe I like these, I've never had it. Truly the worst candy I've ever had.
It tastes like those wax lips.
Yes, it's so
like
does.
long wax lips.
I could not stop laughing when I took a big hunk and chew of it, and I was like, I started cackling, and it was just like, this tastes exactly like the wax lips. I remember this flavor like so distinctly.
That like sort of cherry strawberry.
Yeah, it's like a minty cherry.
Ugh, God.
But like it's not that, but it's like those two. It's like it has elements of both of those things. Like it's not minty in the traditional sense,
And
but
the
that's what
texture is so wrong.
Yeah. But the only thing that Red Vine has going for it over Twizzler is they're way better for biting a hole and drinking through.
For straws, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. They must have changed production because I feel like when I was younger, I was way easier to get to do.
Yep.
I
can't do it
Diet
anymore.
Coke. Yeah, no, they're all squished up now.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a 10-minute sidebar about Twizzlers because this movie is not very good.
I mean, if Patreon people want to hear a podcast about our favorite candies,
I feel like we could do like a Q&A episode, talk about like movie candy.
yeah, oh yeah, movie snacks, movie candy.
So he almost screws up sneaking out. He puts on the Santa suit, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm out of presents. I gotta go back to the car." And the nuns are like, "Okay, that makes sense." And he strolls to the front door of the prison. And the guy goes to let him out, the guard, and he's like, "See you later, Freddy." And the guy's like, "Wait, how do you know my name?" And he's like, "Well, I'm Santa Claus, of course." And Freddy's like, "Oh, that checks out." And I'm like, "Freddy, come on."
Yeah, Freddy, you fucked up. And so he escapes, and then they cut to this small town, and this is where...
No, pause. Because first we get like an app, you know exactly what movie you're in. I've talked before about the whoa as the indicator of the kid comedy, but another indicator of kid comedy, this movie has two of the strong factors of silly kid comedy. You got a guy tied up in funny underwear jumping up and down.
Yeah, he's doing the hop along.
Yeah, he's like, "He stole my Santa suit."
And this is where I wrote, this movie is Whistle Down the Wind, isn't it?
So you're going to have to go ahead.
Oh, I know. I know.
Explain what Whistle Down the Wind is.
So Whistle Down the Wind is a novel written by Haley Mills' father that was turned into a movie that she starred in the same year she did The Parent Trap, got her a BAFTA award, and then was turned into a musical by that hack, Andrew Lloyd Webber. And the musical is what I saw because our older brother would take me to musicals for my birthday. And one year... What did I say?
Old.
Oh, no, did I say oldest?
Oh, okay.
I said older or oldest?
Okay, I thought you just... So maybe it's just my headphones, but it just came through as my old brother. And I was like, that's not right.
No, it's my old brother.
That implies a weird thing that he was like, he was my brother and now he's not.
No,
which
he's
is not
dead to
true.
me. I couldn't think. I was like, there's not a lot coming through to Philly this year, one year. And my mom was like, and our mom was like, "Hey, this is an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical." And I was like, just starting to not like him, but I was like, whatever. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be commercial and whatever. Gig and I have seen 6 musicals at this point together.
Mm-hmm. It was like
This
a
is-
Christmas thing. He would get you one for Christmas or
for my birthday or
something like
Christmas.
that. Yeah.
This is the first time that we ever looked at each other before intermission and was like, do we stay?
Did you?
No, yes, we did. We did.
Okay.
I wish I hadn't, but I now know the ending. So Whistle Down the Wind is this story, but if you replace Santa with Jesus.
So the guy breaks out of prison and then pretends to be Jesus.
So I think in that one, he doesn't pretend. The kids think he's Jesus and he doesn't correct them.
Which is basically what happens here.
Yeah. So he shows up in Whistle Down the Wind. The convict goes to this barn and the kids are like, "You're Jesus." And he's like, "Sure I am." And then all the kids in town are like, we know you have Jesus in your barn. We want to see him. And so he's like just talking to the kids, and he's not like trying to do anything. He's just like hiding out to like let the heat die down.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then the parents catch wind of it, and they're like, well, clearly this isn't Jesus. And so it becomes this allegory in the Whistled on the Wind that like the parents are like cynical and they're like, that can't be Jesus. And the children are like optimistic and like, it's totally Jesus. And then in the movie, which I didn't know had a different ending than the musical, because the musical ends with a barn fire and all the kids surround the barn so the adults can't get in. And then the barn catches fire and the oldest daughter, who is falling in love with Jesus, gets pushed out of the barn and the barn burns down. And then she goes in and it's empty. He disappeared. And she's like, it was Jesus or something. The movie apparently ends with him getting handcuffed and taken away. And she's like, he'll be back. Jesus will be back. It's deeply unsatisfying.
That's exactly this movie.
It's this movie.
Exactly this movie. Yeah, no, that's exactly this movie.
And like I was like, hang on. We're going to get Whistled Down the Wind, but with Santa. And I'm not happy about it because I hate this. And that's what we fucking got.
It totally is this. It totally is. And also, I will say, in defense of those children, they're children, so obviously very dumb, as all children are myself included. And he was staying in the Jesus suite.
He was. And to be fair to these children, he is dressed like Santa.
Yeah, yeah. I do like that we get Santa Claus is Coming to Town by the Crystals.
I'd love that version.
From the Murderer's Christmas collection.
It's called A Christmas Gift to You from a Murderer.
Okay, sorry. It was kind of funny. I was like, ooh, is this the Ronettes? And I Googled it and I was like, no, it's the Crystals. And I was like, I have made this exact mistake, I'm pretty sure, on the podcast before.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to remember what it was that I screwed up those two bands.
So the Crystals have a sharper sound to their voice.
As soon as I played it, I was like, okay, I get the difference.
And the Ronettes have like a smoother, like velvety sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
I was looking this movie up, like doing some research. There's not a ton about this.
There's not. It doesn't even have Wikipedia.
Yeah, but it has like a Wikia, like a Disney sub.
Oh.
You know, the thing.
Ooh, that's a dangerous rabbit hole.
I was like, let me check this out. And it was funny. There was a single comment on it from December of last year, and the person was like, all right, I watched this on Disney Plus, and I swear when we watched this on TV when I was a kid, it was Bruce Springsteen's Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but now it's the Crystals. Does anybody have any idea? And I was like, can I find any information? And of course, there isn't any.
No.
But it's like, what an interesting swap that would be if it's more expensive to license the novelty Christmas song from Bruce Springsteen than from the Phil Spector collection.
I don't know. Because those songs are in a lot of movies, so maybe they are cheap.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And he's a murderer and dead. I think he's dead, right? Didn't he die? I think he died. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you're right. It might have just been he was willing to license it out for cheap.
Yeah. Also, we complain a lot about opening titles in our movies that just like are stagnant and boring and nothing.
Right.
This is how you do good opening titles, because it's B-roll of the town and the Christmas parade. And It's like, look how much fun Christmas is. It's Christmas time.
You set the table.
Yeah.
We get some really shitty kids who are like harassing Santa.
Well, only one kid is shitty, the bully kid.
Yeah, but he's like the leader of a bunch of kids, so I assumed they were all shitty kids.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I thought he was just like the bully, because he rips Santa's beard off and runs away.
He was the tall one, and he was in front of the triangle.
That's
they were
true.
They were kind of doing a flying V of bullying.
Yeah, fair.
So I was like, okay, this is like a gang of street urchins.
It's not Fagin.
Fagin?
Yeah, from Oliver.
Oh, if you had said they're not Oliver, I'd have been like, haha, yes, but you named any other character from Oliver.
Fagin. So Fagin is the leader.
Whoosh.
Fagin's the one who he's the leader of all the kid gang.
Can I tell you something? I'm like,
you don't know anything about Oliver?
I'm like 85% sure I've never seen Oliver or the animated Oliver with John Travolta. Is it John Travolta?
No, it's not John Travolta. It's Billy Joel.
Okay,
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Oliver and Company.
Joel. Yeah.
I mean, you can get the gist of it.
I mean, it's like, I know, please, sir, I want some more, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah, and then there's a song, Nancy sings a song that's really pretty, and I can't remember what it's called in the musical.
So right after this, the kid goes into the office of this old man who's miserable. And at this point, I'm like, since I don't know what whistle down the wind is, like the rest of the people listening to this podcast,
Like most
likely.
people.
Yeah. There's this like miserly old man who's got a tiny little office, and he's like, "You can't have a dog in here." And he picks up the phone, and it's like, "Boop boop boop, get me the pound."
It's his son.
Yes. We know that after this, but it was like a wild escalation to a
No. We knew coming into it because he says dad.
Oh, you're right.
So what happens is the bully rips off Santa's beard and runs away. And then the short protagonist kid he was next to runs to his parents and is like, "Mom, Johnny ripped the beard off Santa." And his mom goes, "Why are you always concerned with what Johnny is doing? He's less fortunate than you." And I was like, hold on. If his dad is your landlord and kicking you out of your house, that is not less fortunate in my book.
The landlord is never less fortunate than the tenant.
Landlords are crooks.
The landlord owns the building. Like, what are you talking about? Less fortunate? The boy is less fortunate because his dad's a shithead. Like, what are you talking about?
But that is a very weird concept to tell a child.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's richer than you, but you have a loving family, so
yes,
he's gonna grow up with a lot of resentment and daddy issues someday.
Yes. Also, his dad seems like the type of rich person who'll be like, "You're not getting any help from me. I pulled myself up from my bootstraps made of my father's money."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The guy who plays the shitty landlord is a character from
The
Star
father
Trek.
of Franklin the Turtle.
Is that right?
No, he just looks like a turtle.
Oh, well, he's a character on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I have never watched. However, if I say to you Star Trek, I'm guessing you come up with like three things in your head. One is
I see the Vulcans. I see the Klingons. Are they the ones with the foreheads?
Uh-huh.
And then I get Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay. So Data doesn't come up for you? The robot
the
guy
robot.
with all white? Okay. So adjacent to Data is a guy whose face looks like a mask with no features. He's a changeling.
Oh. Like a Michael Myers mask?
It's akin to a Michael Myers mask, but like the nose is more pronounced. It's like as if you took a human face and smoothed everything out, like in sort of an unnatural way. So
Okay.
he played this character that ran for I think most of Deep Space Nine. If I pulled up a picture of it, you'd probably go like, I kind of know what that is. So
Maybe.
Anyway, that's what this guy is from. So we cut to the people watch it. I think it's the Billy and his family, the protagonist kids, watching the news, and
It's a very Pawnee news delivery.
Yes, but especially because they're doing a story about the fact that Ed Asner has escaped from prison, which like you'd think would be a kind of a serious thing, and the woman's like, "That sound you hear on your roof coming down your chimney this year might not be Santa Claus at all. It might be an escaped criminal from the blah 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 penitentiary. So and so has escaped
And
is wearing a
sources say
Santa
he
suit."
did not escape by reindeer.
Yeah,
This has been Joan Calamezzo.
Just like, what the fuck is happening here?
Although, also, I just want to say, I wish that we had a spin-off of Parks and Rec called Pawnee Public Access, and it was just like Perd Hapley and Joan Calamezzo and other news reporters doing movie reviews of current movies or like hot topics. Occasionally, you could bring in main cast members if you wanted Amy Poehler to like do a guest spot one week, but like, I would be fine with just like Joan and Perd doing public access. I love them.
Also, we have a really unusual thing spotted in this movie. It's a 1986 Brussels sprout.
Yeah, it is. And no kid, it's not like a thing for the kids.
Uh-huh. It's just a casual part of the tablescape.
Yeah. Also, the mom is dressed like the mom from A Christmas Story for some reason.
She totally is. I didn't put that together until you said it, but you're exactly right.
I'm like, this movie is in the 80s. It's not in the 40s.
Right. Yeah, the house they live in is a 40s style tenement.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Apartment.
It's very much like Hey Arnold.
Yeah. But I'm saying it's like run down in the same way.
Yeah.
That, okay. I don't remember the condition of the Hey Arnold house.
It wasn't that run down, but I know what you mean.
So the doorbell rings. They go outside and there's a dog on the porch.
And the bully left the dog there so that he could have a nice home for Christmas. And we should also specify that this dog looks like he's 40, has half his hair and is
Yes.
underfed and scraggly.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
this is not like a cute new puppy. This is like
No,
this is the dog. Like in Lady and the Tramp, there was the one dog that you see get taken away to get killed. That's what he looks like. He looks like that dog.
there are people who seek to adopt dogs like this, and they are just like, my job is to just shepherd this thing into the next realm. And that's
He's
what
going to
I'm
be
doing.
here for
Like,
7 more months, and
If
he's going
that.
to eat. And he's going to eat well, which is
Yeah.
a noble effort. If that's how you want to, like, that's your way of doing good and balancing
Yeah.
the scales. Power to you. But like,
Yeah.
these kids should be aware that like this is not a spring chicken.
Yeah, exactly. This is a dog bordering. It got both 2 to 3 paws in the grave.
Yes, this is a dog that would eat at 2 p.m. Dinner,
Yeah,
dinner
with
at
a
2
coupon.
p.m.
With a coupon.
Mm-hmm.
Many
And it's
bowls
soup.
of soup.
And it's just soup.
The great Fred Gwynn shows up,
Always happy to see him.
who is operating in a completely different movie. And I love when this happens with a character actor where they're
But
just
beyond
like,
that, the writing for him is a completely
yes.
different movie. Like,
Yes,
he
yes.
was given a different script and a different
Absolutely.
like everything about it. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, he's dressed like he's the lead in the Maltese Falcon. He's got, the trench coat and the hat, and like you can see him he doesn't, but you could see him chain smoking cigarettes and talking about dames.
I think he does
and
smoke.
stuff in this movie.
I think he does.
Oh, I don't remember any smoking. But
It was
anyway,
the 80s. You could do whatever you wanted.
no, I'm not saying
On
like,
TV,
he
I
wasn't
mean.
allowed. I wasn't saying he wasn't allowed to smoke. I was just saying I didn't. No, you could do whatever you want in pretty much any context. There were no,
I know,
no
but
rules. But yeah, I just was like, I could just picture him being like, this dame strolled into my office.
Yeah, like
Oh.
he works next. His office is next door to Bob Hoskins in Roger Rabbit.
Precisely.
The
exactly,
light comes
yes.
through the blinds in his office.
Yes. Yeah.
But his whole storyline and consistent jokes are, I'm an absent father and husband.
Right.
That's
right.
the joke every time.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And
what?
I was like, surely we're never going to see his family in this movie. And then you do see his family in this movie, and it's like
And
really
then he gets called away
crushing.
again.
Yeah, it sucks. It's like a huge bummer. The end of this movie, realistically, is Fred Gwynn like,
Coming home to an empty house because all the
And then-
furniture's gone because his wife
Uh-huh.
left.
and then running his car in the garage until he goes night night. Like,
Or over a bridge.
yeah, this is not a happy ending for this man. He's miserable. The wife is pissed, and rightly so. And it's just like you have to have a job and a family. Like, you have to do both of these things. This is what you've chosen to do with your life.
Yeah.
Because like every time we cut to him, it's like, oh, I gotta catch this bastard. And like, do we ever find out what crime he actually committed?
He was
Like,
a
we know
robber.
right, but do we know like what he robbed?
I don't know, Gotham National Bank?
Well, it's just like so.
He was in Two-Face's gang? I don't know.
But it's like, so people out there are gonna be like really aghast at this, maybe. But like, I don't know. To me, robbing a bank, as long as you don't hurt anybody along the way, it's like a pretty victimless crime, right? Like,
I agree.
there's a bunch of insurance. Like, I'm not suggesting people go rob banks, but like on the grand scheme of things, like if someone has robbed a bank, gotten caught, and is going to prison, it's like, yeah, I mean, like they're probably not going to do that again, you know? Like
Yeah.
and
Also, banks and corporations are monsters.
but like beyond that, it's like there's insurance of all types. Like nobody lost money on this deal. Like the money just disappeared, and they kind of just replaced it because like they never found it. So it's just like, it's just there's like nothing, no harm, no foul. Is sort of how I feel about it. But Fred Gwynn is like desperate to capture this man, and I was like,
Yeah.
he was almost on parole. Like, can't we just let this one go? It's like,
Let it slide. What's he
yeah,
gonna
it's like,
do?
he got out 6 months early. Ultimately, who gives a shit? Like, what's the big deal?
If he robs another bank, then do something.
Right. Because all he does is get the money that he stole before, which, like, again,
It's
if it was
already
a bank.
ghost money now.
Right. Exactly. That money doesn't exist anymore. It's just extra. So I don't know. I'm like watching this whole thing. I'm like, man, Fred Gwynn is like,
Let him go, right?
Right. It's like the way Fred Gwynn pursues this man is as if Fred Gwynn is Bruce Wayne, and this Ed Asner was the thug in Crime Alley who broke his mother's pearl necklace.
parents.
Yeah, and it's like Ed Asner catches up with Fred Gwynn, and he like pretends to throw up and he pulls a pearl out of his mouth and he's like, I kept this souvenir under my tongue since I got put away, Gwyn. It's like, what? Who cares? Like, don't you have better? Go hang out with your family.
Go to your family. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, this is like such a low-level crime.
Speaking of criminals, we then cut to the landlord having an open floor session to tell everyone they're being evicted because he's still in the building. Because landlords are crooks.
This dude is such trash. And I was like, okay, like clearly it's funny that, again, whistle down the wind. I was like, oh, this is like super Scrooge. He's evicting the poor people a week before Christmas and he's like, it's a day like any other day. I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen this before.
Yeah, literally. But like, here's the thing. If I buy a building and I can't pay the mortgage or pay the bank, they take the building from me. If a landlord buys a building, they should take the building from him. Like if he can't pay his rent or his mortgage, that's his fault because he shouldn't have bought that building.
Well, if you were in that situation, you could try to sell your house, and if you were successful in doing it, you would like escape the situation you were in.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying you like if you owned a home and then you like lost your job and you're like, oh God, I don't have any money. Like you could put your house up on the market and try to sell it and then theoretically use that money to pay off your mortgage. You just you're exchanging a house for debt in this instance, but
yeah, but like it just to me it's always like you made irresponsible decisions. Then they take the house. But like if landlords by definition make irresponsible financial decisions because they buy things they can't afford and just hope people are going to show up and pay them money.
Yeah. I guess I'm not like the landlord defender. I'm not sure I follow you down the road you're walking specifically, but I get what you're saying.
That's just my thought. And I find it funny that like individuals,
no human, like okay, no, but very few regular people buy anything that they live in that they can actually afford. Like that's how mortgages work.
Yeah, but you can pay your mortgage.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's paying his mortgage because other people.
But he can't afford it on his own. He needs people. He needs renters.
I see. So you're saying that
if he can't afford it on his own, then maybe he shouldn't have made such a financially irresponsible decision.
Sure. Yeah. And the other thing that's weird is they make it seem like he had sold this building for like a great. It's like it seems like a gentrification situation.
Yes.
Where it's like
Starbucks bought this.
Yeah. Exactly. Where it's like you got a hot location. We want to turn it into a nightclub.
Condos.
Starbucks. Yeah. Condos. Whatever. That kind of thing.
But it's never really explained. He sold it and then unsold it.
Yes, and also he is 100% operating a slum because during this meeting, the dad is like, "Hey, Billy, go down the basement and kick the boiler and throw some more wood in it," which is presumably the heat for the whole building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that like the tenants are just charged with maintaining this boiler. Cool.
I think we should have building mutinied.
Yeah, for sure. They should just thrown this guy off the top of the building. Who would have complained?
Throw him in the boiler.
Okay, that's a little bit harder to manage.
I mean, it's all the evidence is gone.
If you've got a mob, whatever, you throw him off the top of the building, and everybody starts talking about how he was depressed. Like you get away with this a little better. Is all.
I saw him drinking earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So you just you make the fake suicide of this evil landlord.
So you turn this into an Agatha Christie novel, an Agatha Christie story. I won't say which one because I don't want to spoil.
The problem is it really screws you up though because then there's no one that owns the building and then you might get kicked out anyway.
But so can't they fake? But then you can fake a will that says I will the building to my tenants.
Yeah, I feel like you're better off disappearing him.
My dad told me he was gonna give them. It was a Christmas gift.
So you disappear the landlord, but you don't let it be known for a long time. You try to keep that a secret. Like you're still cutting the checks; they're just not getting cashed, right? And you're
your bank would know that the money wasn't going anywhere, right?
Well,
the bank would realize that the money wasn't being withdrawn.
Okay, so all right, here's the new plan. You say the landlord is requiring cash payments now, so you withdraw the money from the bank on a monthly basis into cash. Use that cash to do your spending. You're not paying any money in rent, but you're saving other money.
And then you do like I'm going to give my money to you so you can cash it. And then, so everyone's like handing the money. So they'll be like, here's my paycheck.
Oh, see, I was just going to do like you withdraw your, whatever it costs.
Yeah, but
to
then
rent
you
this
run
apartment.
into the risk of every server ever where you just have a stack of cash that is not safe.
Yeah, that is a problem. Okay, well, everybody chips in on a big vault, maybe.
Okay, I like that idea.
So then you got a vault. And you got people have like little bags of money in the vault. I guess you have to trust each other a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going in on this murder plan,
Maybe there's a vault with sub vaults. So it's like there's like drawers with a lock inside a bigger lock.
Okay,
like a safety
I'm here
deposit
for you.
box system.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm here for this.
So it's like you have your key and you open your thing, you get your drawer money out. And just like each month you take your rent money in cash, put it in there, and you just use that for your monthly expenses, your groceries, your gas, et cetera, et cetera.
I like this.
I feel like this is a functional plan now.
I like this much better than the movie we watched.
Except for the part where there's a small child who's now homeless. That part you'd have to
He's
figure
not
out.
homeless. He can live there.
Well, okay, this would be a feral child. You got to somebody has to do some parenting of this child.
Yeah, Santa. That's how this
man.
should have ended. I thought
Ed Asner adopts the boy.
yes. Yeah, I mean, it happened in
Oh.
Up, basically.
Well, I always thought Up was like they were friends.
It's not an adoption, but he is his stand-in grandfather now.
Yeah, he's a friend pa.
But I just think, like, honestly, there was a point in the movie where I was like, I want like Ed Asner and this kid to kill the dad, and then like the two of them just like gang up.
They kind of get into that territory by the end, but they don't obviously kill him.
No.
So he sends Billy downstairs to put some fire in the boiler and kick it to start it. Ed Asner is hiding under like a blanket or something. Like
This is
not
where
a
I
blanket,
literally,
like a
all
drop
caps
cloth.
was like, this is Whistle Down the Wind. No.
No, based on the plot you described, this is one like Mr. Lloyd Webber and whomever wrote that original novel have
Haley Mills'
some-
dad.
Yeah, they have some money coming their way.
Although,
from
you know
Disney
what?
Corp.
If it does make sense that Disney would take it because it was Haley Mills' dad.
Oh, okay,
And
sure,
she was
yeah.
their golden pony for a while. So they probably were
Yeah,
like, whatever.
Yeah.
What's the Mills family going to do to Disney?
So the kids think he's Santa, or he thinks it's Santa. He runs and gets his sister. They wake up Santa. Ed Asner does a funny wake up where he's like kind of disoriented and mad, which I found very funny.
Yeah, it's like me when I wake up from a nap.
Mm-hmm. And he needs a crutch. So they get him a cane, and he goes to check out this deer that he thinks his money is stashed in absolute broad daylight in front of people. He's dressed as Santa. There's
also another Santa there.
right.
I think.
Yes, there is. There's a Santa on the throne. There's a whole line of people meeting said Santa, and Ed Asner just like crutches his or canes his way over and is like, "Let me take the head off this reindeer in full view of all of these people and the store."
I mean, at least it wasn't like an animatronic reindeer situation. Like it wasn't moving. Like kids didn't think it was like a real thing. At least.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They did not think he was beheading a live animal right in front of them. That is true.
Yeah. So he runs away, and then the kids are like sneaking dinner, like parts of their dinner into a Ziploc bag to bring
Yeah.
down to Santa. And then they go downstairs to give it to him. And for some reason, he is sitting in the dark next to a lamp to do the like, I'm your mom catching you coming in at 2 a.m. thing.
Yes, yeah. The,
Like, why?
Snap the light on. Like, I have no idea. Also, do you think they knocked these dinner scenes out in one success, like one back-to-back shooting day?
Do you think they
You'd
just like
have to,
changed,
right?
like kept the food on the table and just changed?
Well, the food's different, but it's like you just swap the food. It's like you just like you already lit that room, right? Like, wouldn't you? It wouldn't make the most
Makes sense, yeah. Just get some craft services.
I was just chuckling at the idea of like these kids shooting one scene and then everybody quickly changing and then them doing the same, essentially the same scene again.
Yeah, because they're at dinner like 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah, there's no Brussels sprouts at this one. There's like rice and meatloaf, it looks like.
Yeah, it's sliced meat, vague sliced meat.
I think it's a meatloaf situation. It doesn't look like a full meat. It looks like
I was thinking Salisbury steak.
Okay, I'd buy a Salisbury steak, but like a ground beef situation.
Yeah. So they're down there talking to Santa, and he's like, you kids got to help me, break into this thing or whatever. And then their dad comes down into and it's not their basement, we should specify. It is the building's basement.
The building's basement, yeah.
And so Ed Asner hides under the blanket, the wood pile blanket.
Yeah, it's like a drop cloth.
Yeah, I
put
feel
down
like
to
that's
cover
a
your
common thing
furniture.
for wood piles so that they stay dry. Although this is inside, so I don't know why we.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Leaky Pipes, Slumlord. But he's like, what are you kids doing down here? And they're like, we're playing. And I'm like, in a dark basement with no toys? Like, are we that sad?
Yeah, they're playing with some sticks and coal dust that they're down there. Also, this sequence has my only legitimate laugh of the whole movie, where the little girl comes down. She's got a bag with meatloaf in it, or Salisbury steak, and the phone book in the other arm. And she's like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't bring the phone book sooner because I was sitting on it at dinner."
That was a very cute line.
The delivery was the best delivery this little girl has in the whole movie, and it was just such a hilarious specific reference that I was like, oh man, I've sat on a phone book. And then it got me thinking, is like, what the hell? I guess they have to buy booster seats for all kids now.
I never did the phone book. I had the little booster seat.
You definitely sat on phone books when we would visit like a grandparents or...
Oh, maybe then, but like at home I had the blue, it was a blue seat with a white, like a blue chair part with a white seat part. Then you could raise it and lower it to be like, your kid's too tiny and it's growing.
So my read on this was the phone book at the home base was like their poor thing. Because the phone book was always the like, oh, the kid's too short for the table. We don't have the booster chair. I got an idea. Here, I'll boost him on a phone book.
Gotcha. Okay.
I remember the phone book always being like you're not at home and you need to sit down and eat some, whatever it is. So they throw a couple phone books down and you hop on the phone books. That was my memory of it. But it was just funny. It was like, you can't really do that anymore.
No, I don't even think there are phone books anymore.
When they come, they're like the thickness of a magazine.
Yeah. You'd have to just use like some coffee table books.
Yeah, if you have those, like, it just is more and more like, what the hell do you give people in that situation? I just thought it was very funny. So he uses the phone book to look up his old friend. He goes to this lady's house who is like, it's like Dollar Tree Jane Curtin.
Jane Curtin.
She was on SNL like way back in the day in the 70s in the like the era that Candice Bergen was on. She pops up. She was also, I think,
Was she in any of the holiday holiday sketches that we see every year?
I think she's in the Louds, the one where that's like.
Is she the mom in the Louds?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
When everyone's cocaine thin.
Yeah, everyone is cocaine thin, and this sketch has absolutely nothing to do with Thanksgiving, but it's in the Thanksgiving special for reasons I don't quite understand. Like, there's no reason for it to be, but it's in the Thanksgiving special.
Do they not talk about Thanksgiving?
Nope. Not that or if they do, it is like a throwaway line in that thing. Like, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? It's like
I think it is. I think it's a throwaway line. I think Gilda Radner says something about Thanksgiving at one point. I think.
It would be like making the argument that Ghostbusters 2 is a Christmas movie because there's like a 30-second montage piece where they have Santa hats on. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess do what you do, but like I don't think your logic.
They gotta pad it somehow.
Yeah.
So anyway, this lady,
Dollar Tree Jane Curtin,
is the voice of the villainess in the Chipmunk Adventure.
Oh, that's interesting.
The like Eastern European woman who sends them on their adventure with their brother.
Okay. Well, she tells Ed Asner that his partner is like long gone. She doesn't say he's dead, but he might as well be. Is sort of the implication.
Isn't he on a beach counting money? Isn't that what Ed Asner said?
He does say that, but then later Ed Asner clearly thinks he's dead because there's that weird dream sequence.
I hated that, by the way. We'll get to it, but I hated it. So she gives him
this old key.
It's like it looks like something you would find in like a sunken ship.
Yeah, it's a prop from the Goonies.
It's a rusty like coral covered key. So he's in this like in the walls workshop and he can hear all the apartments from here. I think it's the basement, and the basement has a vent and he can hear through the vent. Gotcha. Okay. Cuz he hears the shitty landlord dad calling his son a sissy for wanting Christmas presents, and this was where I was like, "Oh, we should just kill him, right? Like we should just stuff his body up the chimney." Put him in the Santa suit, shove him up the chimney, break his neck, and then be like, I don't know where my dad went. And then in a few weeks when it starts to smell, the fireman can break the chimney open, and that's how he can learn there's no Santa Claus. And then we find out that his sister is Phoebe Cates, inexplicably not in the movie. Yeah. That. Yeah. I'm in. That's a perfect murder. Mix it with the the cash payments and the room of vaults,
Sure.
I'm in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you don't need the cash payments and stuff if he dies. You just write one check, it goes uncashed, and then it's like January 12th or 15th. They're like, oh, he hasn't cashed our check. That's weird. And then we went to check on him and we found him in the chimney.
Okay.
It's a perfect alibi. Yeah.
This is the episode they're going to play in court someday.
Yes, exactly. They're like, okay, here's the elaborate murder plan that they concocted for the movie. But I'm sorry, the guy in this movie sucks. He should get murdered.
It's the same as the wheelchair man from Wonderful Life.
Mr. Potter, yeah.
Yeah.
He's truly evil. But the weird part about this is like Ed Asner and like to what you said earlier, like I thought Ed Asner was going to adopt the kid. I could totally see that energy because Ed Asner's read on this is like he does like, yes, sir. He replies to him as if it's his own dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, I don't got time for Ed Asner to have this kind of backstory where he's like, my dad was mean to me and didn't show me love in the appropriate way. I guess like, I respect that being real for many people, but like, what is it doing in this movie?
Yeah, it did not need it. Yeah, no. And then he hears our protagonist's parents being like, we won't have Christmas presents so the kids can have more. I have everything I could ever want, mother. And I'm like, okay, can we tone it? You're still poor and sad. Like, you can be appreciative of what you have without being like, I don't know. It just felt very like the Waltons.
I don't know. I feel like it's good to be this guy. Like if you're in a situation that sucks, the best thing you can do is try to smile through it as best you can, like within reason, of course. Here, I'm not being a maniac, but when it's like, look, we just won't exchange gifts and we'll use that money for the kids. It's like the budget's tight. We got to tighten the belt a notch. It's okay. Like I don't need anything. I have a family.
Well, that response,
it's fine with me.
We don't need anything. It's better for the kids. Is not. I have everything I could ever want, and then he scoops her into a big sweeping romantic hug.
I think he's trying to make her feel better. I think she feels bad. I think he's trying to be sweet. I'll give him more slack here than you are willing to. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think what we need is the dad in this movie and Mary Steenburgen in One Magic Christmas, because they seem on the same wavelength of like, hey, they're gonna get a tea set and a chocolate bar, and they're gonna be happy about it.
I think Mary Steenburgen would also kill this man via her wishes.
She would dress him up in Santa and shove him up the chimney by herself, I might add.
She'd be like, you're a little too optimistic, crack.
Mm-hmm. She would stage a bike crash.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect death. He's biking in the snow, he skids, he gets run over by the car. Perfect.
Yeah, she like ties him to the bike and like shoves it in front of a car. So the car's like, I hit him.
She ties him to the bike like Kermit the Frog.
Yes, exactly.
Try to make that trick work. So Ed cons these kids into helping him steal the money.
They're very dumb. Like,
yeah, they are.
The little girl, I can believe she's young enough that like I can believe that. The boy is too old to fall for this.
Yes, for sure.
Because he basically says someone robbed me and took all the money, and I need to look for it. So you need to find me a disguise so that I can go look for all this money. And I was like, yeah. Kids, come on.
This makes zero sense. What are we talking about? But I really like the sequence here because I had one legitimate laugh with the phone book line, and then I had a legitimate chuckle here because
Ed needle drop?
Yeah. So Ed starts talking to this lady in line, and she's doing like, she makes a valid point, but she's clearly like a dickhead. She's talking about like, nobody has pride in their work anymore. And nobody is like, whatever, which is like extremely eye-rolly to me when it's said in the tone this lady is. However, I will say that like when you do encounter a person who clearly does take pride in their work, no matter what their job is, it is like genuinely like impressive to me.
It's lovely to see.
Yeah. Like I was at a bar not too long ago. God, is that a nice sentence that seems like it's not going to be said again for 6 months. But it was like, you know what? We never get a cocktail. Let's have a cocktail. We sit down at the bar. Bartender's super friendly. He's chatting. There's a fairly sizable list of drinks. So I ask if anything's like, a standout, or I'm between these two things, it's one better than the other. He makes a really nice drink. It's like, you know what? Let's have another one. And then I start talking to the guy, and there was like a different kind of fancy cherries behind the bar that I'd never seen before. And he's just like, gave me one on a toothpick.
Were they the ones in the white ceramic jar?
Yes. It looks like ceramic, but they were really good. And I was like, man, that's delicious. And I looked them up, and then the very inexpensive to buy. So it's like, I bought a jar of these cherries.
They're in Atlantic Liquors in Rehoboth.
Okay, well, I bought a jar because I was so impressed. But this bartender was like so nice, and he was like, he really, shakes the shake, and he was putting on a little bit of a show, right? Like he's shaking stuff and stirring stuff, and whatever. And it's like this dude enjoys the thing that he's doing, and that's so pleasant to be around, So it's like it's cool to feel that and talk about that in like relation to a specific person doing a good job. What this lady does is the opposite thing, which is like the boomer nonsense of like, everybody just wants a handout and nobody wants to work hard anymore. And I'm just like, ugh. Like, go
play
away.
in traffic, lady.
Yeah.
I got a Santa suit just your size, lady.
Exactly. We'll put you in the chimney.
That's gonna be my new go play in traffic. I got a Santa suit just your size.
Put you up the chimney. But I like they're talking, and Ed has this key, and he like catches the keyhole out of the corner of his eye and does like a head whip, and they do a needle drop of the Hallelujah chorus from
It was so dumb.
But I 100% agree, but it was so dumb that I chuckled. Like it was so it was so
Hallelujah
shocking.
From is it Handel?
Beethoven? It might be Handel. I don't know. I know that it's the Hallelujah chorus. And I think people out there know exactly what you say.
Yeah.
It's like the thing that they use in movies and TV with like a light shines on a thing. Hallelujah. But
Christmas. A lot of Christmas in Christmas Vacation too.
They do it in Christmas Vacation, but it's also like in Die Hard when they,
They do?
Is it? Oh, you know what? It's a different Beethoven track when they bust the thing open. It's that. Never mind. Never mind. I was incorrect. It's not in Die Hard. Anyway, that's all I'll say is like, this is something they do in like kids movies and cartoons and bad comedies, but it was so cliche and caught me so much surprise. And also the way Ed Asner does like a double take, like whip to it. Really, I don't know, man.
I just wasn't expecting a needle drop in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. I chuckled. Yeah. Well, there was another, the crystals were earlier. That's a needle drop.
But I wouldn't, no, this is like full on needle drop.
Okay.
Drop. This is where I wrote, this movie is super boring.
Yeah. Yeah, they go to buy a Christmas tree. It's like 3 days before Christmas. They're buying a Christmas tree. Like, and I texted our parents because I had to know it. I was like, so we were a real tree family for a while, and then we realized, like, why is everybody in our family miserable at Christmas with allergies and stuff? Like, oh, you're all allergic to fir trees. Oops.
Yeah.
So, like, we no longer were real tree people. But I was like, I swear it was like 2 to 3 weeks before Christmas. And
it was.
Both of our parents confirmed that. So it's like, what the hell are you doing?
I want to say, maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought Mom said at one point that they would go to bed on Christmas with a naked tree and then wake up Christmas morning to a fully decorated tree, which just like, why?
It's so much work. Yeah, I've always been a person.
But also, like, to me, like, the tree is a part of my house at Christmas.
Right.
Like, I turn it on just to have it on, so it's like lit, and I'm like, oh, this is warm and cozy.
Yeah, I have always been a person who's like, ugh, big separation between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I still kind of feel that way.
Nah.
But last year put it up on Daylight Savings Day, and having like the lit up, nice, pretty look at Christmas tree on the day when it gets dark at 4:15 p.m. for no reason at all, I was like, oh, this is kind of lovely. Like this helps. This sucks and this helps.
I usually do it a week or two after Halloween.
Yeah, it's about the same time frame, I think.
Yeah.
It was the first weekend in November this year. But so we did it again because it was just like, I don't know, man. It sucks when it's dark at 4:15. I kind of like,
Daylight savings is the worst.
Plus, it's a big pain in the ass. You got to get it out from wherever you store it and get all the ornaments out and unpack them and do it. And it's like, this is a big pain in the butt. I'd like to get more than 5 days worth of this.
Well, I don't think everybody does the ornament repacking the way our family does.
Well, sure, but then you don't. If you want them to last, you got to be careful.
I agree. Because I've helped people decorate their trees, and I'm like, you don't have boxes? Like, this is just like loose in a box?
Just a loose bag of glass.
Yeah, this is a bag of glass.
Everything is broken. Anyway, the mean kid falls into the basement, and Ed Asner is like,
wants to be alone with him.
Yes, which is really upsetting.
What I said before, old man wants to be alone with young guy in a basement. Very different video.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. But he like tells him about his dad, and then he does this really good con artist move where he has him like draw cards from a deck and he tells him what they mean. It's like he does like a tarot reading with the standard deck of cards.
Yeah. Which you can do, I think.
Well, I mean, it's just cold, like no offense intended, but it's like largely just cold reading, which is like all those things. And he just does these cold reading techniques. It's like, well, this is not really cold. I guess it's more of a hot reading since he heard the kid and
He
his
heard
dad.
that.
Yeah, so that's not
When he
cold
stacked
reading.
the deck to pull out
Yeah.
queens and kings and stuff.
Yeah. So it's not cold reading. It's a hot reading. But he's just like, you pulled a queen. Could that be because you wish you had a mother? Oh, you pulled a king. Could it be because you wish you had a better father? And it's just like, oh, you got this kid wrapped up pretty neatly.
So they come up with a plan to like the protagonist boy is going to use the key to open the Santa throne, but his little sister has to stay lookout and whistle. But like no one thought to check if she could whistle.
Neither of the other kids can whistle. And I'm like, okay.
Well, no, to be fair, the one kid was chewing crackers. His mouth was dry.
Yeah, he's eating popcorn or something. But it's like, if this is why you can't leave planning to little children.
No.
This like the signal should be, it's Santa. Everybody look, it's Santa. You know, do something like that.
And then the protagonist boy drops the key down the grate.
So stupid. And I was like, oh man, is this now going to be like, how do we get the key back? And we're like in the sewers. No, we just like forget
just
the
say,
key
"Fuck it."
entirely. Yeah, it's like new plan.
I thought the key was important.
Yes, the movie makes the key out to be this ultimate answer to all the problems, and they literally throw it in a sewer and take it, and just it leaves the movie.
And then there is a gang of children who believe that Santa is Santa, just like in Whistle Down the Wind.
Yes,
a gang of children shows up. And this movie is only half over at this point, and I'm dying inside.
I paused at this point, and I was like, surely we're in the final 20 here. No, we got a good 48 minutes left. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is like the last just under half hour, right? No.
Right. Yeah.
So we get my favorite thing, sad poor kids making practical Christmas wishes.
Oh, man, it sucks so much. It's such a.
It's just so cheap. It's so cheap
Yeah,
to get a kid, put a kid in a sweater with holes in it and rub some dirt on his face and have him go, for Christmas, I wish that my parents didn't have to get evicted.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And it's like, if it's a Santa is Real movie, it's one thing, but this movie flirts with being a Santa is Real movie at the very end, which is very, very annoying.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like as we've said, the only way you can do a Santa is Real movie is if Santa is real from the jump, and then like something goes awry and people are like, we have to rescue Santa. Santa gets kidnapped, or the bad guys do something, or something along those lines.
Santa goes to a yoga retreat.
Right. It's like, that is fine. Like, if it's just like everyone knows Santa is real. But Noel falls into the same trap because stupid
detective
Adrian Grenier / Barack Obama guy is like is like, oh yeah, I mean, well, yeah, you're Santa, all right. And it's like, no, he's real. He gives people gifts. Everybody gets gifts from Santa. This is stupid. What are we doing?
So the cops figure out that the cane that Santa was using belongs to the protagonist family.
Yes.
And that promptly goes nowhere.
Well, Fred Gwynn, like, they go around and they're like asking people questions, and what this like sad Fred Gwynn is so.
I miss
ridiculous.
a home cooked meal.
Yes, he sounds so sad. He's like, I remember what that food used to taste like before I only. He doesn't say this, but he's like, before I only ate it out of vending machines and fast food wrappers.
Yeah, like, I feel like Fred Gwynn should be living in a motel or out of his office.
Yes.
Like, his wife kicked him out already.
Yes, Fred Gwynn should be a sad divorced. He has sad divorced guy energy.
Very that.
Oh, so at this point, we cut down to the basement, and I was like, oh, of course we're doing a Patton riff. This is one of those things that, like, I think about this stuff a lot. The cartoons that we watched as children had a very specific set of reference points that became things that we were vaguely aware of without knowing what they were. It's like, how many times did you see a cartoon where they did a Patton riff and you had no idea what Patton was?
What's a Patton riff?
So the very famous scene in the movie Patton is George C. Scott as Patton standing in front of a giant American flag in like full military regalia, and he's like he's marching back and forth and giving this big speech.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So it's like, you've never seen Patton, you don't even know what Patton is, but I described a scene that's very famously from Patton. And yeah. he's doing Patton. We're even doing the song from Patton. He's just marching in front. There's no American flag or Christmas tree, but he's just doing Patton here. And I'm like, why is this such a ubiquitous reference in children's entertainment between 85 and 95?
I don't know. It's so weird because I'm picturing like Bugs Bunny doing this.
Yep, the Animaniacs 100% did this. Like, I guarantee it. You know, it's just like there's probably a Rugrats Patton riff that I don't remember.
100%.
And it's just like, why was this so ubiquitous in children's programming? No wonder we all have weird, fucked up brains. It's just like, oh yes, a Patton reference, the very topical, timely thing for a child's show.
We also killed the ratty dog.
Yeah, I could not believe we did a dead dog in this movie. Like, obviously, we joked about how dead looking that dog was already, but holy shit, man.
So yeah, the dog dies, and then all the kids are like, "You lied to me, Santa." And I'm like, "About what? Like, what did Santa promise?" I don't remember Santa promising the dog was going to live forever.
There was something with the dog that he told the mean kid, and I missed it. Like, I don't remember what it was, because I think it was in the parade of children's wishes. So he must have wished that, like, the dad would let him keep the dog or something like that.
Gotcha.
I don't know, obviously, but
yeah,
the dead dog is buck wild. It's
crazy.
Honestly, more shocking to me than the dead dog in Turner and Hooch.
Yes, it is. And then an even rattier dog shows up at the end.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. And I was like, well, what? Where did this one come from? This
That
was
one
dead
is at
in
least
2 weeks.
That one is at least a more youthful looking ratty dog. It might have a year.
It is. It's got a year. So the kids. So there's the throne, and then apparently next to the throne outside is this like riddle about Christmas or something.
Yes. Yeah.
And in 100 years, no one's ever thought about it or tried to solve it, I guess.
Right. Which is just completely ludicrous. This is also the point in the movie where I started going like, wait, all right. So it's been at least 3 nights since he escaped from prison, right? Maybe more. This man has not showered. You don't get to shower every day in prison. So it's possible it's been closer to like, maybe 8 days since this man has showered. He would be the smelliest. He's in this stolen Santa suit that he was literally sprinting from the police in. What are we doing here?
It'd be gross.
Yeah.
So the kids get trapped in the throne somehow, and then the throne gets wheeled into Macy's for the night.
Well, they purposely get trapped in the throne, I think. That was like a plan.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. They do a Trojan throne.
Yes, exactly. And they got all the other like urchin children to like sing Christmas carols to distract the guards or something.
Yep. This guard should have been played by Dick Miller, by the way. I was really disappointed.
Exactly.
Like, this is a Dick Miller part, if ever there was one.
Yeah, you kids get out of here.
I could see Dick Miller tolerating like one song and then being like, all right, time to go.
Yeah, well, at the end, the security guard does say you kids get out of here.
Yeah.
So the other problem is that like we did not get like, there was no scene of an establishing shot of this riddle or the kids reading the riddle very clearly top to bottom.
Nope. They need to read it out loud.
So we get like 6 disparate couplets of like, when the moon is high, grab the bullseye or something stupid like that. And I was like, well, I can't solve this mystery. Right. I just have to watch this child fumble through it.
Right. Really frustrating. Also, they wheel this 15-foot high throne inside on a dolly or cart of some type. And then they go to like cover it up for protection, and they throw like half of a hotel washcloth on top of it, and they're like, "Good enough." They cover nothing.
Like that you need to cover the fabric, buddy. That fabric's gonna fade.
Why is there not a big tarp that goes over this thing?
Or a custom shaped like cover. So this is where Fred Gwynn finally makes it home and immediately gets called back out into the field.
Him coming in we talk about, little things and being really, impressive for actors. No shock to anybody listening to this podcast that Fred Gwynn is a good actor. He's great. But him opening the door with an armload of presents, the phone rings in the other room, the kids come down, dad, thump, 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 thump down the stairs. And then the wife coming in, holding the phone and like in both hands, like the cradle and the receiver, thing. Mm-hmm. You watch him go like, oh God, it's work. And like he slowly drops the presents before he even gets the phone. It's really great stuff, man.
It's just like it reminds me of like a Chevy Chase-ism from like Vacation.
Yeah. Totally. It's just a great little performance piece. It's like, like I said, Fred Gwynn is not acting in the same movie as Ed Asner, because it's just like, he's in a small tragedy that's playing out over
he's
the
in
course
Death of a
several
Salesman.
days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a Willy Loman.
The kids take forever to solve the riddle, and they solve it, and it's not satisfying to watch because I don't understand the riddle.
Right, and you haven't seen the throne well enough to get. It's like the bullseye. And I was like, kid, you should be looking for like a target on this thing, and then he does do that. And it's like I didn't feel particularly good about that observation when I was like, okay, well, it's not the bull's eye, literally. Also, why would you make a throne where one arm was a bull and one arm was an elf? That makes no sense. Like
This throne is ugly.
Wouldn't it be a reindeer? It's a Santa thing.
So the kids take these bags of money and they run them over to Santa, and I'm like, you didn't look inside?
I will say it is kind of cool when they like hit the button and there's this like Rube Goldberg-y contraption that opens up, and
that is cool.
It's cool looking. It doesn't make any sense in the movie. It's like it's like a Goonies thing, you know, that has been hidden.
Like it should have been that Ed Asner made this throne.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it should have been. He made it, and he has to like relay to the kids how to open it.
Yes.
Like, hey, you look for this. And so it should have been like him being like, write this down. You're going to find the elf, and then you're going to go around the corner and push on the butterfly or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Dumb. But so these kids don't look at how much money they just took out of this throne.
It's a huge bag.
It's like there should be bills falling out of it and fluttering to the ground as he like tiptoes like a burglar.
It's about the size of a standard kitchen trash bag.
It is. And at this point, there are 25 minutes left.
It's so crazy. I could not believe that there was that much movie at this point.
God. And then the dumbest, worst part of the movie is next. Ed Asner takes the money and runs and gets on a ghost train that tries to teach him lessons.
This is
We've got a magic
bonkers.
ghost train now.
Yeah, this is completely insane.
So it's all of a sudden a Christmas Carol where it hasn't really been a Christmas Carol this whole time.
Right, but it's weird because it's like they give him the Ebenezer Scrooge thing, but there's already a Scrooge character in this. So it's like Ed has to learn the lesson and then subsequently teach it to a second person in order for the movie to land.
And then dominate an older man in another kind of internet video.
Yes.
Like, it's so, because he's getting like glimpses of the dog grave and like a skeleton man on the train. And I was like, what are we doing? This movie has been some semblance of realistic thus far. Like, it's been like Christmas movie realism.
Right.
Things are goofy, but like...
Yeah, it's a real world. I will say, one, I think the design of this train is super cool. Like, I thought it looked cool as hell. It reminded me of something out of like the dystopian beginning of Joe versus the Volcano or something. But it was like great. Like, you could make a great sci-fi movie with this train design.
I think it's called Snowpiercer.
Yes, but the Snowpiercer train is kind of like sleek, and this is like a murder train, which I think is just a different type of sci-fi movie. I liked Snowpiercer. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting, and I said before, this movie checks like a couple of children's cliche boxes. The first being the guy jumping up and down in his underwear when he got his clothes stolen. But the second is, for some reason, all the examples I can think of, and I'm sure there are some that are not this, but children's movies love for bad guy duos to be one tall skinny, one short fat. And Ed Asner is the short fat, and next to him he meets his partner on this train who I guess he thinks is dead. Tall skinny. And then they're like fighting, they're not physically fighting, but arguing, and tall skinny is like waving his arms about and makes Ed Asner look even more small fat. And I was just like, why is this such a standard for children's programming?
Horace and Jasper in 101 Dalmatians and any other Cruella thing.
Harry and Marv.
Harry and Marv.
Yep. There are others, of course, but it's just like the big ones that come to mind immediately. I'm like, oh man, like always tall, skinny, and short, fat. Timon and Pumbaa, sort of the same vibe. Not
they're tall and fat and short and skinny. They flip the script a little bit,
but it's the same general essence. It must be like we're Laurel and Hardy tall.
Cogsworth and Lumiere also.
Cogsworth, Lumiere, yeah. We're Laurel and Hardy short, fat, and tall, skinny. Or like one of those old. Or
Abbott and Costello.
Know. Yeah, exactly. Like I know one of those fellas. One of those four fellas was a big man for sure. So I wonder if that's like what it is.
So this is back when TV used to end. The landlord's TV is over.
Yes.
And then Santa fully like BDSM dominates him, and he's like, "Say my name," and I'm like, "What is happening?"
I also liked, I am backtracking slightly, but you mentioned this offhand, but like the dead dog, it's not just that Santa sees the dog.
It's the grave.
He sees a shallow grave mound of dirt with a handwritten sign for the dog that says his name is Spider, and then the mean boy sitting there crying. It was just like, what have we turned this movie into? It feels very
Christmas Story, like in those weird.
Oh yeah,
those weirdo.
The dream sequences.
Dream sequences. There was a word an adjective I was trying to think, but I can't remember it. So he, teaches landlord a lesson. And then the bully, I guess, turned in Santa Claus.
Yeah, this kid
Not
is like
clear.
He apparently showed up at the police station with a dead dog in his arms and turned in the thing. But I also I had missed this and writing down the notes, and I wanted to say it because I thought this was accurate and that you would appreciate it. The train part is like we fell into a Freddy Krueger movie.
It is. No, you know what it is? It's fucking Willy Wonka.
Sure, yeah.
How like randomly in the middle, it's like, what if we watched a chicken get its head cut off?
And it's just absolute terror.
And bugs in the mouth. Like, what?
Yeah. But yeah, it has a real Freddy energy. Is like it's dream logic, and he's like trying to run away, and like the ground stretches infinitely and stuff. It's just very strange.
Toothpaste stairs.
Yes.
So the bully turns Santa in, and then the cops arrest Santa publicly in front of all these children.
With like 12 cop cars. It's like, again, I know this man has escaped from prison. I understand that like heightened and stuff. My assumption is he didn't commit a violent crime to begin with, and he has yet to commit a violent crime now. Like, is this really necessary?
And then there's a shot, like a low angle shot of all the kids like in a line crying, watching Santa. And it reminds me of that scene in Nightmare Before Christmas, like right after Jack gets shot down and the police go through the town being like, there's still no sign of Santa Claus. Christmas is canceled.
Yes,
and it's just this like low shot of all the different kids crying.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's very same energy for sure. Tim Burton must have loved this movie. Or not.
Selleck. Although
Selleck,
Tim Burton was the key player.
Yeah. I just remember one time playing bar trivia, and it was like a list of films, and you had to pick the one that wasn't directed by Tim Burton, and I put down that one, and the guy was like, he marked it wrong, and I was like, Tim Burton didn't direct that movie, and he was like, yeah, he did, and I was like,
he did not.
I would literally bet any amount of money, like, Tim Burton did not direct that movie, and it was like, yo, okay, buddy, and I was like, can you please Google it? I'll stand here, and he did, and I was like, okay, so my answer's right then, thank you very much.
Yes, dum-dum.
It's like, we're running a trivia contest, I'm sorry, but it is my right to be pedantic.
That's the point, it's trivia. And so here at the end, they're going to shoehorn in the Christmas star with no earned explanation.
Yeah. Also, we glossed over this, but I want you to just for a second go back to Ed Asner kicking in the man's door, waking him up and being when he's like, do you know who I am? You're Santa Claus. I'm sorry. There's no amount of whiskey or drugs.
No, it's not that. He says you've been a very bad boy.
Yes,
like
yes.
It is sexual.
Yes. You are 100% correct. It is, as the Backstreet Boys would say, sexual. But more importantly, it is a grown man who's like, well, Santa's real and I saw him, so I'm going to change my life. Which, like, I'm sorry.
I mean, in any video I've watched of that scenario, they just accept it, so.
It just, like, I would need a lot more proof if Santa were to, like, show up and be like, actually, I've been real this whole time. I'd be like, well, I have a lot of fucking questions.
In those videos, normally Santa would just unzip his pants for the proof. So, careful what you wish for at Christmas.
That's what I'm saying. If Santa appeared and was like, I've been real this whole time, ho, 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 I would be like, cool, sit down, because you and I are going to have a long conversation about the fact that I'm 99% certain that every gift I've ever received, I knew who bought it for me, and it was never you. So let's talk. What do you have to tell me?
So the police car gets, like, stopped by the Christmas star at the end, and it, like, rains light on it.
It's weird. So, like, first Billy goes, like, running up to the car, and he throws the Christmas list that the kids asked for to Fred Gwynn, and Fred Gwynn tucks it into his chest. And then when we see the Christmas star and we see the car driving, and clearly Ed Asner, like, asked to pull over or something, but he's, like, looking, and the light is, like, hitting his chest, like, where the list is, I thought. Maybe I'm over.
I have no idea.
Here. But it's like Fred Gwynn at that point is like, wow, this is real. And I thought this was going to lead to Fred Gwynn letting him go.
I did too. I think because the car just stops, and I was like, oh, they're going to be like, you get out of here, buddy.
Yeah. Like, I never want to see you again. You're in a different state now. Just get out of here.
Instead, all the Christmas wishes come true somehow.
Yeah.
And then they all collectively own the building now.
The Christmas wishes come true, including the fact that the little girl wished for it to snow for her dad.
Weird.
And it was like, oh, so Santa controls the weather. Got it. And then the funny thing
in the DCOM, The Ultimate Christmas Present, Santa does control the weather.
Well, that's
starring Hayden Panettiere and Brenda Song.
That was I was gonna say when this movie ended on Disney Plus. The next thing that came up was something.
Mine too.
Was that movie from 2000, and I was like, I don't remember this one. And I was like, it's definitely. 2000 is like for sure the borderlands of me watching Disney Channel original movies, even though I obviously did not have better things to do. I watched other movies, but it was just like, that's a weird twist that Santa controls the weather.
It's a cute one. I haven't watched it in a minute, but it was California gets snow.
Yeah, and then it like wreaks havoc kind of thing.
Yeah. There's one where Bryan Cranston controls time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he so the way Santa works is that he like freezes time. That's how he can like go everywhere and put presents down. And Bryan Cranston's like a dirtbag uncle, and so he gets the power to do it. And he's like going around like a fancy dinner like black tie party eating like shrimp while everyone's frozen.
I like that the Disney Channel version is like, he eats a lot of shrimp and he robs everyone blind and gropes.
No, he does do that too. He's a bad guy, so he is doing that too. But it's not a big scale. He also at one point I remember because it was very scandalous for Disney Channel. He walks
I'm dying
up
to know what this is.
It is a like for Disney Channel, yeah. So he like walks up to a frozen like waiter pouring champagne into a glass of a woman, and because it's frozen, it's like a solid. It's like they got the prop that's like the solid thing, and he grabs the champagne bottle and lifts it, like pulls it out of the glass, so the whole like what has been poured is a solid piece, and puts it in her boobs, and then walks away. Yeah, I mean,
are you sure this isn't Mandela effect?
I would have to rewatch the movie, but like I'm 99% sure that's a thing that happened. Let me guess. He like makes it spill on the lady, and it's like hits her in the chest. There's no way he puts it in solid.
her cleavage.
It's not moving.
Right, but I'm saying if he like put that on her shoulder or like her chest, but not her breasts, and then when he unfroze time, it would splash all over her.
So I don't think we ever saw them unfreeze time in this part.
Okay.
I'll have to rewatch this one.
You're gonna have to figure out. This is now our homework for this evening, because there's no fucking way he puts it in a woman's cleavage in a Disney Channel original movie. There's no way. There's no way.
Bryan Cranston. You never know. I think it's Bryan Cranston. I'm pretty sure it's Bryan Cranston.
I hope it's Bryan Cranston. That's what made it interesting.
I'll scrub through the movie tonight.
I'm gonna need a screenshot.
They don't let you on Disney Plus.
Well, you could take a picture with your phone.
Oh, so okay, but then so scroll on the computer and picture with the phone.
Well, I thought you'd put this on your TV and then you would just take a picture.
No, I was just gonna scrub with my finger on my phone.
I see. How do they prevent you from taking a screenshot with your phone screenshot function?
Hulu does it. Netflix does it. If you take a screenshot of a video of like a Netflix or thing, it's just a black screen.
Huh.
I don't know how they do it, but
stupid.
It's very stupid. I'm like, what am I gonna do with? I'm gonna make a meme.
I don't watch things on my phone because I'm an old man, so it doesn't directly affect me, but that is stupid. So I really liked that because it's a Disney Channel movie, the dad when it's snowing on Christmas, he says "Jumping Jiminy Cricket."
Yeah, it's cute. So he gets a white Christmas. They all own the building, so they can feel free to kill the landlord whenever they want.
Ed Asner used the stolen money to buy everyone's apartments. But the problem, it's nice. It is very sweet. But then it's like, now you all own condos in a building that sucks. Congratulations.
You killed the landlord and used that money to fix the place up.
I feel like it would have been much nicer if Ed Asner just gave everyone money.
Probably, but you know. So Christmas wrap up, everyone gets their Christmas wish, and then season's greetings from the Disney family.
No, I'm sorry. This is against the law. Movie law is explicit in this instance. When a very famous movie does a thing, you can do a spoof, you can do a bit, you can riff on it, but it is absolutely illegal for you in your shittier movie to just do a scene from a better movie. I'm sorry. They have
Hark the Herald Angels.
Yes, you can't just fucking do Hark the Herald Angels Sing because you're doing a bad Christmas movie. I'm sorry, Frank
Hark
Capra
the Angel
owns
Herald
that.
sings. Peace on earth and salsa mild.
Okay, that is really not comfortable in my brain. I was like, are you having a stroke? What's happening?
No, hark the angel herald sings, peace on earth and salsa mild.
Okay, stop this madness. I want to get off. Frank Capra owns that. I'm sorry, it's his. You can't have it. You're not allowed to just end your movie by having. I was like, I swear to Christ, if they go into Auld Lang Syne, I'm gonna scream.
Right.
So, Dollar Tree Jane Curtin got a dress inexplicably
From Santa.
right.
Or
I know
from
but
Ed Asner.
I don't remember the part in the movie where she was like, "I want a silk dress."
So she said, I don't have a ball gown to answer the door in.
Oh, okay.
Or I don't have an evening dress to answer the door. Something like that.
Okay. So Ed's back in prison, but he seems fine with it. I hope they didn't tack too much time onto his sentence because he was almost out.
Right?
Gwyn comes home to his family and they're all like, "Daddy, we left you milk and cookies," which is insane. Like, you're right. It should be an empty, it should be like a single sad suitcase in the foyer.
In the middle of the floor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the mean kid and the mean dad seem to make up, which feels completely unearned. Like in a movie where nothing has been earned, this is really unearned.
Yeah.
And
ending with they do that a lot in these kind of movies where it's like,
yeah,
son, I'm sorry. And it's like,
I was wrong.
I don't think I'm sorry covers how many years of abuse,
right?
And trauma.
It's like, okay, I'll give you that you're opening the door to a better future, and I will step through this threshold with you, but I am leaving my hand on the handle.
Yes. I have the thing, the cord around my waist, and I will get pulled out of here the second you fuck up again.
Zelda Rubinstein has a firm grasp on this rope. "Oh, child, your dad's not really better. He hasn't gone to enough therapy. This is like the clarity that comes after your first session, child. Don't get fooled. Don't let him trick you with his tricks." And then we end with like then we're singing the song in the prison, and Ed Asner's leading the thing like a conductor with the Santa suit on.
Isn't he like standing on something too? Is he standing on a bus?
I mean, he's a short man. I think he's on like an apple cart. They're inside.
Oh, okay.
Apple box, not apple cart. And then freeze it pulls back to this, it looks like foggy old London town in matte painting, but it's obviously not London. And then it's like,
yeah, Mary Poppins is about to just be like,
it seems like it. Bert's like dancing on the rooftop in the background. Season's greetings from your friends at the Disney Company, which I was just like,
season's greetings from the Disney family.
The Disney family. I'm sorry. Very, very strange to do that. But yeah, that is the Christmas star.
Not shining so bright.
No, there's like worse things out there, but this is a real nothing pile. Like,
it's something that I would put on in the background of like if I was having like a holiday party and I just wanted something with like Christmas visuals. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's better options for that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I don't. There's nothing here. Like there's a few parts that I found amusing, and I enjoyed talking about this movie. But it's like it's a weird mishmash of many better things, and it mostly doesn't achieve anything. But there's like there's a couple of moments that are funny. The girl with the phone book, I did genuine laugh.
That was cute, but it's too long.
I will say, I agree. Like it should be a 45-minute special, but I will say, in terms of production, the quality of the production is way higher than you would expect for something. Like, imagine this is quite low budget. It's clearly like a backlot somewhere that they had the city streets for, is my guess.
Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, it certainly could have been, honestly. No,
because they would have marketed that better.
It's too early for that. That part didn't open to the late 80s. So, or like...
Yeah, 89.
Yeah.
No, it was 89.
Okay, I was going to say, I knew it was late 80s or 90 at the latest because Universal opened in 1990 and they beat them to opening. But yeah, it's just, it's not very exciting. But
no.
Ed Asner's pretty good in it, and I liked Fred Gwynn quite a bit in it.
The first time of many he would play Santa Claus.
Yeah, including Elf.
Yeah, I forgot he was Santa and Elf.
And like 40 of those Hallmark productions, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Or Hallmark-esque productions. But yeah, there's not a lot here, in my opinion. So this is a skip, I think. But fun conversation. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you want more from the show, especially Christmas content, head over to patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. The Christmas Mentary is actually a Christmas thing this year. That'll be dropping on Christmas Day for everybody who supports the show on Patreon. And folks at the $5 tier just got our bonus Footloose episode. We're approaching 20 hours of bonus content at the $5 level, and we're about halfway to the permanent episode each month at the $5 level. So we're about halfway to that. It currently shows that we're over it, but that's because one of our longtime listeners has jumped on the $88 tier temporarily. So that will be going back down later. So we're not going to start that until it actually is over that threshold, but we're close. We're getting ever closer. So if you're interested in more from this show, head over to patreon.com/dissectingtheeighties and see if there's a membership tier that works for you. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us on Facebook. It's Dissecting the 80s. On Twitter, it's at DissectThe80s. Don't forget to check us out there. And, we always like to hear from you. If you want to write us an email, it's dissectingthe80s@gmail.com. On that matter, we would love to get a Christmas gift from you, and that would be you reviewing this show if you have not done that yet. Spotify just opened reviews, and you don't even have to write anything on there, so you can just click 5 stars, which would be nice. But if you do review us, somewhere where you write a review, take a screenshot, send it to the email, and we'll read it on the air. We read them from iTunes because those get sent to us, but nowhere else does that. So if you do review the show, send it to us, and we'll read it on the air. Thank you so much for listening. I have been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until 2022.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.